and boom goes the dynamite.
And welcome back to still the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. This is Daily Dive. I'm your host, Michael Carvelis, as always. It is Friday, November 10th, 2023. The time is 1:01 p.m. Eastern time here in Georgia. I guess Eastern time in Georgia, kind of a double negative there, but that's what we do. Head to Daily Dive Lax on social media and click the link tree in our bio, or you can do it on YouTube as well if you're already here. And there you will see the Our Store tab. Remember, December 1st, a new logo means new merchandise. You're going to want the new merchandise. You're going to wear the new merchandise. I'm telling you, this new logo looks amazing. I will personally be buying my own shirts because just to help support the cause a little bit here. But I think you guys will enjoy the way this one looks. But Daily Dive Lax social media, thanks so much for that. On today's show, we'll get to the Seattle shipwrecks. Thank you for putting Seattle and not the name Washington. That was clutched by the NLL and Future Sports. We'll break down that logo, as well as the Castors de Montreal. What does that word mean? We'll break that down. Also, Brett Dobson had a 4-year deal as of yesterday, and we're going to talk about what that means for the Georgia Swarm. And also, I have a little bit of contract values for you that might help broaden the horizons and broaden the spectrum here. And also the Courier Bros podcast, and as always, Mike's Best. But first, you're like, well, I thought there was a guest today. There is a guest today. It's PK from Buffalo Sports Collective. So don't go anywhere. When we come back to this here show, you're going to want to listen to PK from Buffalo Sports Collective talking all things Buffalo Bandits, maybe a little bit of Unboxed as well. We're right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. I know you won't. Welcome back here to Daily Dive. We are joined by PK from Buffalo Sports Collective. Welcome once again, sir. On behalf of Phil, obviously, how are you doing? How's your off season?
It's been a long off season. I'm ready to get back into NLL action, but congrats on season 2 of Daily Dive.
Amen, amen. Hey, he's friend of the show. I love it. I have to wonder, because I tried my hardest to watch PLL, and we're not trying to be anti-PLL here. I have to know, how much of that did you catch, if any?
I mean, not much. We're strictly NLL because obviously the PLL doesn't have a Buffalo sports team. We kept track of the Buffalo Bandits that were playing in it, so pretty much just the chaos. But other than that, not much. I had the game on in the background every once in a while, but we're strictly a NLL show, Buffalo Bandits kind of show.
I mean, I'm not mad at that. I know like the chaos may be in upstate New York, but there was speculation that might be Western, and they kind of worded that wrong. We don't know, but it's cool. Two gigantic things from the offseason of the Buffalo Bandits that we've got to get to with a person who follows it very closely, you and Phil both. I want to first get to, we reported how big the deal was. You guys are obviously aware of Dane Smith's 5-year deal. However much it does cost, how awesome was that to see, and what was your reactions to it?
I didn't know that the Bandits handed out 5-year deals. It's usually 1, 2, 3 type deals, but seeing that 5 there, I had a double take. But you knew he wasn't going anywhere because they franchised him before free agency even opened. I mean, he's Buffalo through and through, so you weren't expecting him to see go any other teams. But seeing that 5 next to his name, that's massive. And I know Mark Stainhouse back in 2009, 2010 got a 5-year deal, but since then I can't remember another deal like that. Wow. Ian McKay got a 3-year deal, but 5 next to Dane Smith's name, he's going to be around, and he's just in his prime now. So I mean, there's going to be some records that are falling with him on the Buffalo Bandits.
Oh yeah, love it. I think he's on a GOAT trajectory, if anything, and maybe not catching John Tavares, but pretty close. And it helps he's his coach too. Producer Joe is also a Buffalo Bandits fan, a Buffalo native, so he's very excited about that as well. Um, I have to ask you, Matt Vince was the other big one. I mean, I thought last season, I thought that was the sunset ride off. No, not one. How about 2 more years? How does that feel? And what is your speculation on why it's 2 years?
Um, I'm hoping that I could be wrong. I'm hoping that this 2 years is just, hey, lock him up for 2 years. We'll reevaluate after 2 years. I was shocked it was 2 years. I mean, I'm not
I agree.
complaining about it. I'm sure the rest of the league hates that it's 2 more years of Matt Vince. But going into the offseason, I really thought it was 50-50 if he was going to come back or not. I mean,
Agreed.
yeah, it was textbook ending. He allowed 4 goals in game 3, getting the monkey off Buffalo Bandits back. I thought that if there was any time that Matt Vince was going to ride off in the sunset, it was going to be that one. But you saw zero, absolutely zero, any degress and regress in
Yep.
his play. He could play until he's in his 50s. I mean, Matt Vince is
Love
going
it.
to play until he chooses not to play anymore. And I think he's going to be the Buffalo Bandits goalie until he decides he doesn't want to be, because he's still one of the best goaltenders in the league. There's conversations if he is the best goaltender in the league. I know Del Bianco is giving him a run for his money and Nick
Right.
Rose is giving him a run for his money. But when it comes down to who I want between the pipes of a game 3, obviously it's Matt Vince.
Agreed. And I thought if it wasn't for him, they may not have been as dominant. I mean, I still have won, but he was pretty clutch.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That defense in front of him was unbelievable as well.
Love it. Even though I made fun of the puppy guarding, but that was me being stupid. I have so the goalie situation, not just Matt Vince, but there are 4 goalies. You've got the rookie they drafted, who I told myself I was going to look up the name. I didn't do it. They got Devlin Shanahan, who's been kind of waiting in the on ice over here. Orleman from the Riptide, and of course Matt Vince, the legend. Give us your take on them drafting a goalie and keeping Devlin, re-signing Vince, and also adding Orleman at the same time.
Yeah, I thought it's basically competition behind Mad Vince. Obviously, there's no 1A competition whatsoever. It's Mad Vince's pipe and in between the pipes there. It's going to be a battle between Shanahan and Orleman. I love Evan Constantopoulos.
Love that
I put
name.
him all the time. I call him Evan Constantopoulos all the time. I know it's wrong, but it's more fun to say it that way. I think he's going to take a while to develop. He's 19 years old going into this season. It's he's going to have a ways to go. And I like them in looking to invest in there. The issue is, and we've said this all offseason, there's only so many spots, and this roster is so deep that you're going to lose players to other teams in this offseason, whether it's trades, whether it's cuts, and they go to sign other teams. But I really think it's between Orleman and Shanahan who's going to be the backup. And I like Shanahan's play in the limited amount of time he's played. Winter ball, he was unbelievable. The numbers are great the last 2 years. Orleman, he has all of those. He had such a good rookie season based on the team that was playing in front of him in New York.
Right.
The numbers really didn't back up how well he was playing. Last year he regressed and Dunkerley kind of took over the role. But I think it's really going to be between those two who comes out and is the lead back. I kind of lean Shanahan just because of the investment that Buffalo has put in him. I mean, he's been with the team. Where is it here? He was drafted in 2018. He's been a part of the team that long. They've protected him multiple times. He's been on the practice squad multiple times. He finally got the opportunity to back up Mad Vince there. And I think while Orleman might have the better numbers on paper, I think because of the investment in Shanahan, I think that's the way they go. But personally, when we mock the team, I have both of them making it. I just have Orleman on the practice squad rather than, them carrying 3 on the active roster.
You know what? It's interesting you mentioned that because I feel like you say, if it's close enough, maybe they will go with Shanahan or trade bait for Orleman. We don't know, but I like that. I like that a lot. It is funny you mentioned the off-season stuff, like other teams adding players. And one of the ones that stuck out to me was the Toronto Rock, because that was, before everything else happened, that was the big news, the Mark Matthews thing. In your opinion, and the Rock added more than just him, I know Latrell Harris is out, but Tom Schreiber's back. all those moving parts. Do the Toronto Rocks scare you enough to think you guys can't dominate these guys again? Like, do you think it's going to be a lot tougher, or how are we feeling?
I mean, I picked them to win the whole league last year, and
Ooh,
they just retooled on offense, and I think they're scarier. I mean, they traded out Zach Mans. Stephen Keogh went to Rochester, and Dan Dawson retired. What do? You just replace him with Mark Matthews. Corey Small came back. You trade for Chris Bushi, and then who's the third one that I'm forgetting here? They added Dan Littner. They added a Dan Littner as well. So you lose those three, but I think the three players you brought in are even more dangerous. Their defense, yes, you lose Latrell Harris for the whole year, but you're going to have a healthy Mitch DeSnoo back. Chris Corbeil's hopefully healthy for the full year. And then you still got Nick Rose between the pipes. I think it's really going to come down to, in my opinion, next week on Wednesday, we're going to pick our playoff teams on our show. But it's really going to come down to, in my opinion, between Toronto and Buffalo. And what's even more fun is it's not an East-West matchup anymore. It's unified standings. So it's going to come down to you might see those two teams in the finals.
I love that. And I will not ask. I'm glad you mentioned that you guys are doing that next week because I'm excited for that. I will be sharing that as well. I want to get to this because since you did mention your guys' show, you guys each gave 3 bold predictions. I will leave Phil's alone because he's not here to defend himself. But PK, you said Jeff T will get the goal scoring record. Mitch Jones will win MVP, and The Rock scoring what will lead the league in scoring. How did you come to those 3? If you can expand on that a little bit. I know we can listen to your podcast, but you're here now.
Well, I still don't have black eyes yet, so none of the Buffalo fans are getting me. But I'm going to the open practice tomorrow, so we'll see what happens.
Hey.
But it's just Jeff Teets on a nice ascension, and his goal scoring has just increased from his rookie year, last year's sophomore year, and they retooled on their defensive end. They look really good defensively now, and if they can, get any better offensively, they're not just going to be able to target just Jeff Teat on that offense. And he scored 56 last year. The record's I think 72. So I mean, there you go. It's right there. Mitch Jones, when he came to Philly, I mean, he was a different type of player, and seeing him firsthand in Buffalo years ago before they traded him to Vancouver, I think between him and Rezzateris, it's not like Jeff Teat where you just get to focus in on one player. Rezzateris and Mitch Jones are a good tandem there. And with the retooling that Philly did, I think Mitch Jones can lead the league in scoring. And if Phil even asked me, how is Jeff Teat not the MVP if he breaks a scoring record, I went, okay, there's more to the game than just that. If Mitch Jones can get Philly to the playoffs, I think he's got a really good shot at the MVP. And then Toronto, their transition game is probably second to Calgary with Del Bianco in net, and that transition game with Courier over there as well. They could lead the league in scoring. I think they were 6 or 8 goals from first place last year, and Schreiber missed a game or two. I think Jalen Rogers missed 2. Mitch Jones or Mitch DeSnoo, who was coming out the back end as well. He's got a defense labeled next to his name, but I think he's a transition player as well. He got 10 or 11 goals in 10 or 11 games. So you're going to get a healthy Mitch DeSnoo. I think they finally got, and I thought last year they had the offense that could do it, but this year I think they even retooled even more with the offensive firepower they have that can go with the defense and the goalie. So Toronto is going to be a juggernaut. And I think they're in a position where they know, hey, we got to compete with Buffalo. We got to put up the goals. And I think they have a team that can do that.
I love that. You guys can find it on Daily Dive Lax on Instagram. I've shared the story where you guys can check Buffalo Sports Co. as well. And you guys can check the bold predictions. A couple more things I want to get to here. Obviously, the Unboxed initiative has been. How do you like the logos? Because I am absolutely ecstatic. I'm almost jealous of these kids right now. What is your take on the whole Unboxed thing?
I haven't been following it too carefully yet, just because we're diving into the lead up of the season. But I love the idea behind it. We've been saying for years now that NLL has to do something to get this sport into homes that typically wouldn't see that. I thought ESPN Plus was a great way to do it. The NLL finals and the whole playoffs was great. I think this is another step, not just to prepare for the Olympics coming up, but also to grow the game here in America and get more players. Because I mean, how many kids play box lacrosse growing up? It's mostly field. And with half the country, you don't have a nice outdoor season, especially here in Buffalo. It snows 6 months of the year. You need that
Oh,
ability to continue to play year round. And this type of thing will grow the game, leaps and bounds. And in 10, 15 years, you're going to see some players that are playing in this box league play in the NLL. And I think that's great for the sport. I think that's great for, growing the game itself, not just, this sport, but the PLL and all the other summer leagues and all the other winter leagues and all those type of sports, and just focusing solely on lacrosse and giving that ability to play the sport that everybody loves and that we think can grow at leaps and bounds going forward. But, the names, love the names, the logos, love the logos. A little jealous that the NLL hasn't matched that kind of stuff. I think in the offseason, we ranked the cities and the teams and all the, and the logos. And looking back on it, there's not a ton of great ones. So I'm a bit jealous on what they've been providing here.
In the rush, decide not to go with Horny as their name of their mascot. I was like, oh, come on, guys.
I voted for that one. I couldn't stop laughing. Right. I was like, you set this up for it. You got to do it now.
Agreed. Agree with that. One last thing I want to get to, and this is like a question I didn't even see coming until producer Joe was like, hey, ask this guy, this Buffalo guy this. So there was this video on Calgary Roughnecks page on Twitter/X where they were asking people drums or flats. Del Bianco said flats, and producer Joe would like to know, it's a big deal, I guess.
It is a big deal here in Buffalo. It's a good question. It's got to be flats. I agree. I think
I like that too.
There's too much gambling with the drums, whether you're getting enough meat on the bone there. And I think while it might be more difficult to eat the flats, I think you get more bang for your buck on the flats than the drums.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Thank you so much, PK. Any parting shots before you head out here?
No shots at all. I'm very excited for the upcoming season, but
right.
The NLL did not make our job any easier last year, and the year before that we could just focus mostly on the Eastern Conference teams. Now we got to find and cover all 14 teams and watch every single game. And I'm not hating it. It's just going to make our job a lot more difficult.
I agree with that. Thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate all your time as always. Tell Phil what's up. We'll try to have maybe him on next time. But as always, you've been awesome, PK.
I'll see him tomorrow. I'll let him know.
Woo! All right. Thanks so much to Buffalo Sports Collective, guys. That was PK. Again, follow them at Buffalo Sports CO on social media. Stuff's awesome. The stuff is awesome. When we come back, we're talking Castors de Montreal, and I'm not French at all, and Seattle Shipwrecks as well, and also Salt Lake City. You're on the clock here. We'll be right back. Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. Apologize for that, folks. Welcome back to Daily Dive here on this Friday, November 10th, 2023. This is Daily Dive, the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. Hope you guys are enjoying yourselves. I'm Al Carvelis, your host, as always. Thanks so much to PK of Buffalo Sports Collective. Again, at Buffalo Sports CO. Producer Joe has chimed in. Let's go Bandits. Of course you would, right? Got to. I do agree with the flats, even though we kind of took shots at Del Bianco on Twitter/X. But yeah, we're also on the platforms at Daily Dive Lax. It's Daily Dive LAX. There you'll find the amazing Our Store tab and other great sponsors as well. But when you go to the Our Store tab, remember, new logo means new merch. December 1st, you're going to want to check it out. Even before then, There's other great stuff on there as well. Daily Dive Lax link tree in our bio. Okay, so I want to first say I'm very happy that the Seattle Shipwrecks was the name of this here team that we're about to talk about. I want to give credit to Foozer Sports for these logos because they have been amazing. If we're being quite honest with ourselves, PK liked them and he doesn't even look at the unbox that much, he said. But are you ready to see the Seattle Shipwrecks logo? If you have not already, boom! That's the wrong look. Boom! There you go. That looks a lot better. Seattle Shipwrecks. Yes, you have been warned. And this grew on me as the days went on. And let's go and read what they got going on. Let's get to the scuba divers. Whether just scanning the shorelines or out in the middle of the Seattle waters, thousands of divers every year brace the cold waters in search of unique wildlife and other offerings. If you dare, venture far enough to find what lurks in the depths of the Puget Sound. I don't even know what that is. I'm sorry, Seattle fans. The treasures and spoils. The Pacific Northwest and Seattle specifically are home to numerous wrecks of once majestic ships and personal sea vessels, devoured and torn apart by an unseen threat. All sorts of treasures and other goods are believed to lie at the bottom of these dark waters, ready for the taking. But beware what lurks in the deep. I like that. I'm going to get to that in a minute. The typography, contrasting the dark blue ocean depths, both Seattle and Shipwrecks have a lighter color to bring prominence to the name. A sea foam blue is used to represent the beautiful waters of the Pacific Northwest, while a bone white is used to represent the spoils you may find on your venture, for better or for worse. So bone white, that's cute. Again, shout out to Foozer Sports for this amazing logo. These guys have been knocking it out of the park. They've been having goalie assists. They've been winning the face-offs. Any lacrosse analogy you can think of it, I'm going to work on those here in year 3 of me watching in season 2 of Daily Dive. This thing's awesome. I will get to where it ranks after I get to our next friends here. The Castor de Montreal. I'm not even using the correct accent on that, but you understand what this is. It's the Beavers. That's what that word means. Beavers. Again, credit to Foozer Sports once again. And we're going to see what this Joker means as well. I like this a lot personally. I really do. So again, credit to Foozer Sports on that. So this logo, this beaver, if you will, the national animal is what we're going to focus on first. Canada's national animal and a beloved emblem for Canadians everywhere, the beaver, or castor in French, symbolizes the country's rich history, current tenacity, and promising future. Due in large part to their undeniable work ethic, beavers are the perfect symbol for diligence and industriousness, core qualities for any sports team. Love it. The national animal. I just read that. Good Lord. The Royal Crown. There we go. When your fingers don't work, you know. Okay. A play on the Canadian Royal Crown, a symbol of Canada approved by King Charles II in April of this year, which is funny, represents the country's sovereignty as well as the power and dignity of the people. A fleur de lis fixé atop the crown represents the French roots of the province of Quebec, and more specifically, Montreal. I don't know what that word means, the fleur de lis, whatever, it's French, you get it. And finally, the typography, once again, Castors de Montreal takes on a more straightforward approach to keep all eyes on the national animal and symbol of Canada. However, unique to the market, the typography is in French, once again representing the French influence in the province of Quebec in the city of Montreal. After seeing these two logos from Foozer Sports, I'm very excited to share my top logos that we've seen thus far. In Salt Lake City, we're going to get to you in just a moment because they have not obviously released their name yet. They'll probably be about 4 o'clock Eastern time. But I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. Here are Joe's top 8 logos of the unbox that we've seen so far. Number 1, Minnesota Lake Dragons. Number 2, Baltimore Ghost Crabs. Number 3, Charlotte Cobras. Number 4, Castors de Montreal. Number 5, the Ottawa Electrics. Number 6, the Tampa Bay Snowbirds. Number 7, the St. Louis Rhythm. And number 8, Seattle Shipwrecks. So Joe, not a fan of Seattle. He doesn't like people logos, in case you guys are wondering. So that's on him, not me. But my top 8 are as follows. Number 1, still the Charlotte Cobras, because I love the city. I love the mint in it, and I love the snake. And I love the fact that it's a former team redone. Number 2, Castors de Montreal. That's right, the Beavers of Montreal. It's happening. I love the French rendition of this. I love the beaver. The logo is very simple and awesome. And that's I love the little crown thing on top as well, whatever they called that. Number 3 are now the Baltimore Ghost Crabs. Again, Baltimore with that creepy looking Mario creature, like a Mario skeleton creature, like just looking at you. Love that. Number 4, the Minnesota Lake Dragons. Grew on me a lot. I love the Nordic symbols. I love the flames. They might be above Baltimore for me. Those two are interchangeable. Number 5, Seattle Shipwrecks. I love the fact, 1, it's Seattle and not Washington. I love the fact, number 2, that it very closely resembles the Seattle Kraken. Robert Ferris says Buffalo. What? I don't know where he pertains on that. My bad on that. But I believe that the Seattle Shipwrecks is a nod to the Kraken, and I love it so much. It almost makes me wonder if that's one of the expansion teams, if there is one. Number 7, Tampa Bay Snowbirds. Number 6, Tampa Bay Snowbirds. Again, I love that logo. It was the first one we saw, and it still is not even high on the list. That's insane. Number 7, the St. Louis Rhythm. Number 8, the Ottawa Electrics. Of the top 8 of these, I would literally buy merchandise for 5 or 6 of them. Like, these things are amazing. And again, the NLL admin already told us here on social media, early 2024, we get the merchandise. I am stoked for that right now. What's Salt Lake City going to be, though? That's the question. That's the last one remaining of the 9 unboxed things. I'm telling you, this stuff's pretty incredible. I'm happy that we're growing the game. It's actually like we're seeing things that actually do that. This is very important. It's very instrumental to this league. I've been talking about it all week. It's been a great topic for this week. Did not see it coming whatsoever. When we heard about Unbox, okay, cool, thanks. I'll see you next year. Oh, wow. They were quick with it. Boozer Sports was already ready. Again, shout out to them once again. Boozer Sports for doing this. Man, they have amazingly done this. Oh, I'm out of words. I really am. When I come back, we're talking contracts, and I've got some new information for you guys. Since we like contract transparency, your boys pulled some strings to find out the ballpark of what Brett Dobson's new 4-year deal might be. It's Daily Dive here on Friday. Don't go anywhere. back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show. This is Dilly Dive. Thanks so much for tuning in. Once again, it is 1:31 p.m. here in Georgia on November 10th, 2023. Follow Dilly Dive Lax or subscribe to Dilly Dive Lax, and there you will see the link tree in our bios. Click that, and then you'll see the Fanatics affiliate link. Remember, there's new merchandise coming soon for the NLL. You're going to want to check that out. You can get it from any merchandise from the league from any league that you want. Support your teams and players. It helps out the show tremendously when you purchase things through that link. Again, Dilly Dive Lax, link tree in the bio. Click the Fanatics affiliate link. It is very easy. Next time you buy a jersey, memorabilia, etc., etc. Brett Dobson has a brand new 4-year agreement / deal for the Georgia Swarm. And this is a big deal, in my opinion. It's a massive deal because I believe he really had a great stretch last year where he was playing dominant goalie lacrosse. I was very excited. And then, of course, the game against Halifax, I believe that's the season when they could have made the playoffs, and he wasn't as good. But I believe they reinvigorated Lyle Thompson. I think another year of Brett Dobson where he just won the PLL championship. See, I do watch that league a little bit. I think Brett Dobson is going to have a really good year, a really good next 4 years, really. And so that brought up the question for me is how much money was he making? Because we reported on this show that Dane Smith was most likely making about $100,000 a year in Canadian dollars. And then he had, and that was a 5-year deal, so 5-year, $500,000 plus another $100,000 in incentives. And I want to know what's going on here with these contracts. So I have some insights on this, if you will. If he got a second-year max, it's around $25,000 Canadian, US. They're probably similar. If it was a minimum, it would be like 15 or 16,000. I believe he got around 20 to 25,000 with community incentives as well. Obviously, you go on these different things, you get paid. You know how that stuff works. But about $20,000 to $25,000 a year, plus the $10,000 or whatever in bonuses. It's really sad because, again, I was kind of expecting around those numbers. But, God, this is one of the best goalies in the NLL. And dude probably has to work. I don't know. Could you live on that money? $35,000, $30,000 to $35,000? Sure. But would it be nicer if you didn't? Yeah. If it was like 50 grand, sure. But apparently for the franchise star player, it's like $50,000. Okay, cool. And by the way, how much does the number go up next season? The number goes from about 21,000 to just under 22,000 if it's a second-year max player. So you're telling me as things become more expensive, as inflation increases, you're telling me about 800 more bucks? It's frustrating. Again, I'm laughing because it's frustrating. I want these guys to get paid. It's part of the reason why I do the show, obviously to get myself paid. But it's like, these guys are too freaking good, man. That's why I love this unboxed thing, because Brett Dobson is gonna walk, so guys in the future can fly. I mean, this is what this is. Just growing the game, baby, growing the game. Now, again, 50,000 would have been a lot better if he was a franchise star, but I don't think he is at that point, or the franchise tag or whatever it is. I just don't. I want more, and that's just not reality right now. These guys have to probably work 2 jobs if they want to live nice. Could I live on $30,000 a year? Sure. Do I want to spread my wings like that and feel good about playing goalie if I could tear my ACL tomorrow? Probably not. Probably hard to Probably kind of hard to start a family that way, Maybe it's just me. Good thing it's salary. That's what I will say. Good thing it's salary. It's just frustrating. How about a clip from Mike's Best? That's right, a clip from yesterday. I hope you guys are ready for this. We debuted this segment yesterday. So let's talk about what I talked about yesterday. Here's a clip from that thing. Notice how Steven Stamp, he is the only hardcore draft analyst that I've seen. There might be some guys out there who analyze things, but no one gave us a mock draft unless their name was Steven Stamp. One of the problems with the draft is there's a gigantic pool, and some good prospects are discarded because of lesser competition. I believe Unboxed expands the coverage. I still believe you could have found a way to broadcast the draft in some way. I love seeing Dyson Williams' interview. Would have loved it even more had I seen him crying on stage with Brett Fruit. That would have been a great moment in this sports history, and we are not going to see it. It might take 10, 15 from now to get to this point. But when I am 42 years old, I expect to see NLL Unboxed and the NLL have a gigantic pool of players we can all look at as one unit. It's a fantastic, innovative way to get our eyes on draft prospects, which makes the coverage and the fan experience even better. So there's Mike's Best for you. Again, head to Daily Dive Lax on social media and click the Fanatics affiliate link. That's what Mike's Best is presented by here. But I wanted to expand on that because Steven Stamp did reply to that. He said, appreciate the shout out and respect, Mike. Lacrosse Flash, rest in peace, did have a mock draft as well and had been providing coverage of prospects over the last few years, with that site shutting the doors, though it is a lonely field. Thank you for letting me do Steven Stamp again. I think that was something that needed to be talked about. I'm glad the Unbox is going to let us do that and just have more draft coverage. I don't know if you heard, but the Courier Bros are going. The Courier Bros. That's what the podcast is called. Zach and Josh Courier are going to have a podcast called the Courier Bros. It's every Friday, I believe, is when it releases. So I just want to know, are you guys excited for that? What is your thoughts on that? Let me know, and I'll put up a poll on Twitter /X/ whatever Elon wants to call it as well. But I personally don't mind it. I'm going to tune in. You're going to get some more topics for this show. But shout out Zach and Josh on doing that. So, yeah. I will see you Monday. If you want to get my reaction to the Salt Lake City team when it's announced later, I'll probably do something on social media with that. And then Monday, we won't break it down, but Monday we will most likely just show you the final 1 through 9 rankings of what myself and producer Joe think about the logos. And I'll break down which cities I think could thrive. And of course, again, with Salt Lake City, you're on the clock. I'm sure Future Sports already has this queued up, but we're still waiting. So it's kind of like, it kind of feels good. You're on the clock right now. But yeah. It's Friday, November 10, 2023. The time is 1:39 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. By the way, Fridays will be longer, and I'll probably announce more of that in the coming weeks on why that is. But we went about 40 minutes today, so that's pretty cool. But thanks so much for tuning in once again. Follow us, Daily Dive Lax. Subscribe if you're here on YouTube. And as always, have a great rest of your day. Yes, this guy. Anyways, thanks so much for tuning in. For those of you that watch the show and share it on social media, you're awesome. We love you. For those of you that are behind the scenes helping us with the show, you're important. We love you as well. And also for producer Joe, who prefers drums, I'm your host, Michael Carvelis. Have a great rest of your day. This has been Daily Dive. See you next week. Adios. Bye.